Happy Monday. I'm here with some pretty good audio samples to introduce you guys to help you find your next good read or your next good listen, whatever it is that you prefer. I'm your girl, Anita Tequila. The first sample we're going to get into today is called Big Girls Drama by Tressa Henderson. This is an urban fiction novel and is narrated by Catherine Dollison. Let's check this out.
Things change. I was hoping they were wrong, but unfortunately, they were right. Sheldon walked up behind me and wrapped his arms around my waist. He nestled his clean-shaven face in the crook of my neck as I leaned back, enjoying his loving embrace. I love you so much, Viv. I love you too, babe. You did a brother well. Round 2 is later. Do you think you can handle me? I teased. Me? Handle it? I was born for this. He joked. I could feel his semi-hard dick grow to its maximum length as it poked me in my back. I reached around and stroked it through his pants. He moaned, saying, "Don't make me have to go for round 2 now. You just got this job, babe. I can't have you losing it over my ass." But what a fabulous ass it is, he said, smacking me on my behind. Trust me, I will tame that dick later. I'm gonna leave so you can get back to work. I patted his hand as he let go of me. Then I turned and kissed him. We still on for later? I asked. Yes, dinner tonight. I've already made the reservations. 7, right? He asked, sliding on his suit jacket. Yes, that's fine. I'll meet you there. I wish we didn't have to drive separate cars, but Sheldon was coming to the restaurant straight from work. He had another late night, and I hoped his work wouldn't make him forget about our dinner date. Walking around his desk, he asked, "So, what are you going to do now?" "I'm going shopping." Eyebrows raised, he said.
Hello.
"Oh, really?" "Yes. I have to find something nice to wear for my man."
For my
"Your
man.
birthday suit would suffice," he said,
Duh.
giving me a mischievous grin. I don't think the restaurant would allow me to enter wearing that suit. His phone rang, and Sheldon went from husband to corporate man in 2.5 seconds.
Corporate man, my
Sheldon
ass.
Garrison speaking. He looked at me as the person on the other end spoke. I gathered the basket I'd filled with food I'd prepared for his lunch date. I made his favorite, gumbo. I wanted to bring some wine, but I also knew he couldn't drink on the job. I looked around and everything seemed back in order. I wanted to spray some air freshener just in case the scent of our sex was in the air, but I figured that would be a dead giveaway for what we just done.
Duh.
Okay, I'll be right out.
Pause it. Pause it. All right, that was Big Girls Drama, written by Tressa Henderson, narrated by Catherine Dollison. Sounds like a pretty good book. She sounds like that one actress she plays in a lot of Medea movies. I can't think of her name right now, but I'm pretty sure that this man is not getting corporate phone calls from his job. I'm pretty sure that's the other woman that's calling this man's phone. But if you want to find out what happened, you got to grab the book and you got to listen to it or you got to read it. I will be back with book number 2. Hold tight. Told you I'd be back. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm here with the second sample of our day. The title of this book is Empress Wu Ze Tao. This book is a biography. The genre for this book is listed as biography and memoirs. based off of the history of women. The author's name is Laurel Rockefeller, and the book is narrated by Richard Mann. Let's check this one out while I try to get my other eye together.
Captain Richard James Mann held Qualine's hands, his breath taken away by the story. Then what happened? Empress Wu ruled as Empress Regnant for 8 years from Luoyang, enjoying all the power and privileges granted to male Empress of China, before returning to Chang'an and restoring the Tang dynasty just months before her death. Those who were displeased that a woman dared rule over men were especially unhappy that she kept men as her concubines, just as Taizong once kept hundreds of women as his concubines.
A concubine.
A woman had sex with multiple men? Asked Captain Mann. What is so scandalous about that, when men of power from across history have indulged in these things with whatever woman they desired,
For years.
married or not?
Seriously.
I heard it spoken that there have been kings of England who kept male lovers. So why judge Empress Wu for doing any different from what men of power do?
Right.
You cannot be serious. Women and men are different.
Those double standards.
Are we? Does not your United Kingdom have a Queen Regnant now? Queen Victoria? Queen Victoria is our queen, but she does not make the day-to-day decisions of ruling the empire. That is done by our Prime Minister, William Ewart Gladstone of the Liberal Party, a man absolutely hated by another of our great statesmen, Benjamin Disraeli. Are you saying that your queen is not responsible for the wars and humiliations my people have suffered at British hands? Captain Mann rose to study the beautiful room around him. On some level, perhaps she does bear responsibility. But the decision to go to war, to take this beautiful place from China and from you personally, was not made by her, no. I wish with all my heart I could undo what was done. I wish I could wipe away all the opium dens and make true reparations to you and to the Emperor for all of this. But alas, I cannot. I am a simple soldier, my lady. My duty is to follow orders, to do as those above me command. Many terrible acts of violence come from soldiers simply doing what they are told, Captain, reminded Hualin. Oh, please do not call me that. Call me Richard, I beg you. Hualin rose and took his hand.
Man?
Richard, you cannot blindly obey orders, not if you honor and respect my people. If you think this Arrow War will be the last act of aggression against my homeland, you are certainly mistaken. Serve your country, but not at the expense of your soul. In China, people have blindly obeyed tyrants because the teachings of Confucius say that disobedience is the greater sin. Perhaps that is another reason why so many who follow the teachings of Confucius have such a low opinion of Empress Wu. She dared say that doing what is right is more important than doing what you are told.
Right.
When the world said that women are lesser to men, she dared show them otherwise. Just like Queen Boudica did 1,800 years ago.
Oh, we just heard about
Remembered,
her in the other
Captain
section.
Mann?
Remember? Queen Boudica.
Yes, exactly like that.
These women...
Your Boudica led armies into battle. Empress Wu Ze Tao.
These are some powerful women that's coming out of this book that written by Laurel Rockefeller. She is bringing to light the fact that some for some reason these men think that we are the lesser sex, the weaker sex, as though we can't do whatever they can do. But you've heard that saying, anything you can do, I can do it better. And that's what these women in these books that Laurel Rockefeller are teaching these men. You better put your learning caps on and pay attention, honey, because men no longer rule the world. This is no longer a man's world. But that's neither here nor there. That was Empress Wu Ze Tao, written by Laurel Rockefeller. Sounds like it's going to be a powerful, strong read and something for us women to grasp onto, so that we have to grasp onto the idea that we are not the weaker sex. That may have been true back in the 1950s, honeys, but we are in 2021. This is a whole new day and era. So, you guys, if you want to know more about this book and how women were looked at back in the day, in case you didn't know, check out Empress Wu Zetain. And I'm going to go fetch the next book. I will be right back. Next up is this book titled Thug in Me. The author's name is Karen Williams. The book is narrated by Matthew J. Harris. This is another urban fiction read. Judging from the title, looks like it's going to be a pretty good book. Let's get into it.
But I saw way too many niggas getting arrested over bullshit, and too many niggas getting killed over bullshit. I was cool. Even though my sorry-ass daddy, Curtis Redding, lived in the Springdales, he didn't live with my mother and me, and he didn't help her take care of me. In fact, he didn't even claim me. And if it wasn't enough that my mama had to make a life for us alone, she had to deal with a lot of unnecessary bullshit from my daddy. He was so uninvolved, my mama gave me her last name. He refused to claim me, and his various women always harassed and would even jump on my mama, because she had something they just didn't have, me. Funny, the person he didn't give a fuck about. But the one thing my daddy did teach me indirectly was that your dirt always catches up with you. Case in point, my daddy ended up with full-blown AIDS. I was 10 when he died. Sticking your dick in a hole just because it is open is not always a good thing. I didn't care too much when he died, and I told my mother that he got what he deserved. But she always told me that it is always better to forgive, if not for anybody else, for yourself. After seeing my mom go through all of that, the last thing I wanted to do was cause her any trouble. So by the time I was 17, I finished high school a year early by skipping a whole year. At the age of 20, I graduated from ITT Tech with a bachelor's degree in computer science. I knew the computer like the back of my hand and could do any and everything to it. A few months after graduating from college, I landed a job as a computer analyst at Microsoft, making $60,000 a year. Within my first year of employment, I bought my first home. It wasn't anything special, just a two-bedroom, but it was enough for me to move my mama out of the projects, and enough for her to stop working like a slave. But she still managed to hold on to one of her jobs, being an in-home care aide for some elderly white woman named Ellen. Time and time again, I told her to quit, and that there was no need for her to work. But she always said that working for her wasn't like a job, because they were so close. I'm sure that most men living with their mother would have probably cramped their style, but not me. I wouldn't have it any other way. My mom was why I was everything that I was. I wanted her to be comfortable and have peace of mind. She was the most supportive person in my small inner circle, and I wasn't done accomplishing stuff. I still had a ways to go. The thing about me is, I didn't wait for anyone to give me shit. What I wanted, I worked hard and got it. I was now in the process of getting a loan to open up my own business, and I knew the rules to being successful. No felonies and no bad credit. I downed the last bottle of my vitamin water and put my truck in the park. I had just left the gym. I had done cardio for 45 minutes and lifted weights for an hour. It was my usual schedule when I left my job. I hopped out of the car just as my cell phone started ringing. I pulled it out of the pocket of my sweats and glanced at the number. It was my baby toy calling. Yeah, baby, I said. I walked over to the passenger side of my car and grabbed my gym bag. Hello? Was all she said. I smiled. Toy. She was everything a brother could ask for. She was fine. With that small waist and an onion-shaped body, mocha brown skin, juicy lips, smoky bedroom eyes. She was sweet, could cook, and even hold down a job. The only flaw was she was too high maintenance, which for a man can sometimes be expensive. But she was...
Pause it. That was The Thug in Me. The author's name is Karen Williams. Narrator Matthew J. Harris. Very strong voice. The tone, the way he's reading the book and narrating it is very captivating. You know, it makes you feel as though he's talking directly. I feel as though he's talking directly to me. So that's pretty good. That was pretty good. Check it out. It's an urban fiction read. You know where the link is going to be in the comment section below. And I'm going to grab one more book. I will be right back. Okay, we did 3 books so far today. And I'm going to do one more. The last book of the day is titled The Feud. The author's name is Will Nussel. Once again, he narrates his own books. This is one of my favorite authors so far because he has so much personality. It's just I haven't came across a boring book written by this man yet. So let's check this out. The Feud, written and narrated by Mr. Will Nussel himself.
Overwhelmed again, Andy sighed and leaned her chair back against her bed, propping her hands behind her head. That was better. Easier to imagine a make-believe world when her eyes could get lost in a trillion stars. The ceiling of the little bedroom was covered with an enormous photographic print of the Andromeda Galaxy, taken from the Hubble telescope, her father's 10th birthday present. "You can lie in your own bed and look at the stars," he'd said, to which, "and stop sneaking out at night," had been implied. They did that math too, for fun, and figured out a glow-in-the-dark Andromeda Galaxy wall stick-on, placed to the scale of her room's solar system, would be out past the moon's orbit. The universe was big. "You're still not writing, Andromeda." Hard to pitch a story to the school paper with nothing written. "Okay, make it a robbery. What's there to steal in a small town?" "Fireworks." "Fireworks?" Could writers argue with themselves? Sure, why not? Fireworks. And, she realized with a flash of inspiration, it's right before the town celebrates their centennial or something. Did towns celebrate stuff like that? She'd look it up. Even with the train of thought, stolen fireworks kicked off, writing was still writing, and 10 minutes later, when Andy heard footsteps thumping down the stairs and the heavy back door whoofing shut, she welcomed the distraction. Where could her little sister be off to on this beautiful end of summer's day? Andy stared out the window into the Riverton forest and marched right up to the house. A well-worn footpath led from the back deck into the woods, one she watched Marigold bounce down. "To have 14-year-old energy," Andy murmured to her ancient self. Where the footpath disappeared among the trees, she caught a flash of red. Was Mary meeting somebody? The angle was wrong, but if Andy twisted enough... By the time she picked herself off the floor, rubbing her elbow, Marigold and Huzit had gone. She didn't normally spy on her sister, but it was such a nice day, and her mother was forever telling her, "Put the book down and go outside, for heaven's sake." Plus, she could put off writing. Andy knew jeans, sneakers, and brought out her eyes green t-shirt would be warm enough, but grabbed her black sweatshirt anyway. Down the stairs, snag a banana, and raise the sweatshirt's hood as the door closed behind her. Just in case. Andy enjoyed some nice potassium as she trotted down the path, thinking she knew where her kid sister was headed. If she herself ever had a secret rendezvous in these woods. "There's a thought," she mumbled to nobody, shoving the banana peel in her back pocket. The afternoon light flickering through the trees waved pleasantly at the ground, and Andy realized she should do this more often. Next time Mom kicked her out into the fresh air, she could bring a book. After all, there was a lovely stone bench tucked away in a tiny, usually deserted clearing. Usually deserted, but not that afternoon. Andy crept up carefully so Marigold and her friend wouldn't hear. Peeking through the heavy brush between two closely spaced oak trees, she saw her sister's favorite pink-on, white-on-pink ensemble, her curly blonde hair pulled back into a haphazard ponytail. Sitting next to her on the stone bench was a boy in blue jeans and a hand-me-down red and white hockey jersey much too big for him. He was cute for 14 or so, and their relationship was obviously special. Close, but not quite touching, his hand rested near hers, and even Andy could feel the electricity of teenagers almost holding hands. The sunlight filtering through the trees caressed their shoulders. She would look at him when he wasn't looking, and he would look at her when she wasn't looking. Then they would both look and then glance away, embarrassed.
Sweet.
They were so adorable, Andy wanted to bang her forehead against the tree. Instead, she eased back quietly, turned and walked away down another path, wiping away an unexpected tear. "It's cool," she told herself. "It's fine." Of course, Marigold would be the first to have something like that. She was always the first to have everything like that. While Andy worked at not burning with jealousy, something tickled the back of her mind. Mary's special someone wasn't anybody Andy knew, but he seemed familiar. Riverton wasn't that large a town. Better to puzzle than cry. One of Mary's classmates? Somebody from youth group? Then, as the trees cleared, treating Andy to a stunning view of the town, spread out like a model train set in the valley below, she realized exactly who it was as her body went numb. Marigold's new special friend was one of the Teddemores.
One of the okay, that was an end. Now, let me tell you what I like about this man. He steps into character with him when he narrates his books. You can hear the tone of his voice so relaxed. It's more serious. His other books, the first two that we sampled, Fire at Will 1 and 2, those were comedy books, right? And we can hear that his voice was like he was ready, like take me to. He was in there. This one, he's more serious, so he's able to code switch. He's able to switch back and forth between tones to match the tone of his story, and I like that. I really like that. So that was Will Nucell with the Feud, written and narrated by himself. Check it out, you guys. It sounds like a good read so far. It sounds like it's going to be based on some teenage or some puppy love or something, but you will only know when you pick that book up and when you read it, or you press play and you listen to the audio sample. You guys, thanks for tuning in. This is your girl Anita Tequila, and I'm going to head over to my Facebook channel to do some live audio plays. And I thank you guys for rocking with me on this Monday. I'll see you again, same time, same place, next Monday. Peace. Oh.